the question, what are you willing to give up? And that's a question that I feel everybody should at some point just sit down, get a piece of paper, and really think about, because you always think, oh, I'm willing to give up, something that's material or monetary or something like, oh, this or that. But are you willing to give up being involved with multiple people, and just, you know what I'm trying to say, like having to be a part of a group, like you're
okay, I know what you mean.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's important,
because sometimes we are afraid of being alone. Because I remember
that part, because it's important for
solitude,
you to have that solitude, and that's where you regain that recognizance of who you are, and you're able to go in and tap within you. When you have that solitude. But it's a level of fear for a lot of people to be alone. And that's just not in a relationship, as far as a love relationship. So what are you willing to give up? And that's what came to me when you said that question to me, was attachments. I'm willing to give up attachments. That's what I have been focusing on a lot, was making sure that I detach and I physically do the motion of, like, I'm pulling out the plugs, right?
Yes, that's a great shower meditation. I want to touch bases on that. Like, if you literally have attachments that you just want to let go of, you could get in the shower, put on some soft music if you choose to, or no music at all. And as you cleanse your body, you can reach that ending part of your shower where you physically pretend you're taking the plugs out of all the things you just want to let go of. It's just symbology. Just take it out. Like, I am ready to release, and just drop it down the drain.
That's
just let it go.
It goes away.
If it no longer serves you, let it go
and keep moving. And love is, this is the thing for me. Love is important throughout all of this, right? Because as long as you know that there is a level of love that person possesses, then no matter if that person detaches from you, you should always know that person still has a level of love, because they love. Like, I consider myself this loving person, right? But if I'm in a situation where it's not working for me, or I feel like I'm not adding to a value to you, I'm going to remove myself.
And vice versa.
I'm going to remove
because
myself.
Sometimes,
but that don't mean I don't have love for you, though.
That's true. Like, you got to love them kind of people from afar. Because I know personally, in my past, I didn't recognize, like, how much of a needy person that I was. Always needing to be up under somebody or in the energy of somebody, because, oh, I love this person, or I love how they act, or how they dress, or how, how bold or strong they are, being up in their energy. But then sometimes it was necessary for me to allow them to let go, because I recognize that's what had to be done at that moment in time. I felt the person was being mean when they needed their space, or they were being mean because they didn't want to answer a phone call. But I wasn't at that point of my life yet to recognize like it is needed to have that solitude, because when you're by yourself, you get to, so quote unquote, fuck with yourself and see like, hey, I need to be, loving myself first for a minute, because I'm too busy trying to add value to your life. I'm losing energy on my own, and I'm not adding to my own. And I now recognize where that was coming from.
And what's the main purpose?
Once I reach that point of myself.
What's the main purpose?
What, the self-love? Because
that's the main
self-love.
Purpose. And it's also to have love for others, right? But you can't have love for others if you don't love yourself. And this is the part to me that I always try to express to people. You can sit up here and tell me how much love you have for everybody else around you, but you don't have that level of love for yourself.
No, that's not
gonna
work.
Because you can't be giving out love for everybody else.
Then you drain for you.
But you don't feel, but you go home and you cry, but you go home and you don't feel good, but you go home and you sad inside. You're the first person that, like they said, when that cup start getting
empty, It's supposed to be runneth over. It's the same thing as like, have you ever had a time in your life where you're sitting next to somebody or you're around someone and they're humming a tune or a song, and then next thing you know, you walk away from them, you're kind of singing it too? It's the same thing. You picking up on somebody else's energy. Just as easy as you can start singing and humming that song like somebody else is singing. What about when people be having them unhealthy thoughts? Remember the thought form video podcast we had talked about? It's the same thing. So when somebody energy isn't clear, best believe that you're picking up on that stuff too, and you wondering why you may be feeling depressed or sad or drained, because it's time for you to have that solitude.
And this
clear your space, clear yourself.
What you just said about you, or how people basically surround themselves with other people and they're feeding off their energy. I've always stressed this to my daughters. It's really important to learn how to fulfill your own level of your through yourself, like be able to feed off your own energy, put it that way, because some people get so comfortable and laxed with, oh, because I'm with you and you got good energy, I'm just gonna be with you all the time because you got good energy. But when I'm not with you, then it's like
they're not doing the work.
They're not doing the work. That's what the whole goal, and it should be you learning how to go off of your own energy.
That's where we bring in,
and that's why being in self,
that like meditation is a good form, because at least it's teaching you to be aware of the present moment in time. Because like 9 times out of 10, we're so far in the past thinking about what we could have done and what we used to do, or far ahead on what needs to be done, or how we're going to do it, stressing on that we're not even being aware of the present moment to create that future and be done with the past. Like 9 times out of 10, like I could be talking to other people or someone, so to speak, and I could be saying stuff like about, oh yeah, I'm doing so well now. Yeah, but remember that time when you used to talk to that one dude? Or remember that one time when you used to work at this job? Or remember when you used to have that old car? Or remember when you used to... It's always remember when. And I don't have an issue with going back in the day, as I'm present as fuck.
Yes. But there's also a time.
But it's a time and place for everything.
I am not trying to do that every other day. Like, come on now. That old version of me.
Let's let it go. Let's let it go.
If you keep surrounding yourself with people who have this old version of you stuck in your head, we know what that do, right? And if you don't know what that do, it don't allow you to move forward and live in your now, in your present. So, what I wanted to touch bases on too, before we keep going, is... I wanted to talk about like our previous podcast, and I wanted to talk about like where we were at that time, and kind of how we took this space to do us,
reminder, letting the subconscious mind know we're reminding you of the past with intention for a reason.
So this right now is to say we are here and are now, because we could have been still doing podcasts and putting out information and putting out content about where we were. But at that time, we needed to be present.
Exactly. And go back within. Pick up these crystals and go back within.
And just do where we needed to be.
Yes.
So we took that time for ourselves, and now we're back here to say, just...
gratitude in my heart.
Yes.
That's what I want to say.
Yeah. I just want to say thank everybody, too, who gave shout outs and said they liked the podcast
and wanted to hear more.
And they wanted to hear
that was
more.
Very encouraging and inspiring, because it let us know we all a tribe and we all one. When you go through something, we're going through it too, and we all just trying to figure out a way to just be well within ourselves, because
and
connect to just be on one accord. And I really do have a lot of gratitude in my heart. I'm grateful for all the experiences, good and not so good, because it's a learning experience.
What is good? What is not so good? All of
them
is
everything.
All of them is great to me, because as long as I'm walking away at the end of the day and I'm taking something from that, it's great. I don't put it on a scale, like I just be like, wow, that happened. Okay, that happened. That happened, but it wasn't a good or a bad happen. It happened.
Right. It had to, because somebody have to be the example. Somebody have to go through that experience to live and give testimony to tell the story. Because I feel like, especially when we're in unhealthy relationships, it rub off onto our children, and we don't see like how how much it have an effect on us until later when we look back on how when we are in a different space in life and we can see someone else going through it that's close to us. So it's like we got to be able to have compassion in our heart to go, they haven't woken up to themselves yet. So I'm not going to down talk somebody that's going through something because I was just in that space, or I was in that space.
And everybody will be in that space again. It's not something that you're going to go through and then you pass go and now you're not going to happen.
You may relive it in a different way if you haven't healed from it, especially.
The journey is real, and the journey is real, and you just got to know how to deal. You feel me? And you got to know how to deal with it, not for nobody else, but
for
once
you.
Again, we're going back to that self. Because once you deal with the way you deal with, then everything is just going to come full circle. Yeah. Right. And then, but the experiences has to happen, and they will continue to have to happen. I don't mean you're doing bad, as people would say. That's why I don't ever measure where nobody is. I don't ever determine like, oh, this person needs to do this. Like I really don't. I genuinely, when I come into somebody's life and I meet you, it's just coming from a place of, okay, love and compassion, right? And then, you know, if you ask for advice or if I love you, it's different. You know what I'm saying? Like, we on the same, we won.
Same wavelength.
We won at the end of the day. So that's different. But like for somebody else coming into my life that I don't know you, that we just, you know, talk a few times, like it maybe been a year or so. It's like, you have to understand that there is certain things that people will not allow to happen to them. No matter what, right? Like you're not gonna, for me, I'm not gonna raise my voice at you. You're not gonna raise your voice at me, right? We gonna have some communication, and we gonna sit up here and we gonna get passionate about some topics where we might, our tones and our pitch might change. But communication is key.
It's everything.
It's key, and it don't matter what relationship you in. And that's where we was just, because like
whether it's your friends, your man, your woman, or your child,
kids, your cousins, your aunties.
Yes, somebody. It's like just be respectful.
Just
be respectful of yourself so you can reciprocate the behavior to others.
Yeah, and everybody has a perspective, and it's okay. It's no wrong or right. She might think one way, I might think another way,
and that's okay.
It's okay. We gonna share.
It's okay.
And we gonna walk away because guess what? We got love.
At the end of the day. At the end of the day. Because they can go, okay, we are what we are. And maybe, you know, sometimes we're not going to agree. Sometimes we may, you know, agree to disagree. And that's okay too. But again, it's about releasing what no longer serves you. So again, this message here today is for people to just recognize, like, just go within, spend some time with yourself, some quality time with yourself, run that bath water, run that shower, you know, give yourself a personal home spa day if you don't want to go out and get one. Right now we're out here in beautiful Calistoga. Yeah, and it feels so good and amazing.
That's how we started.
You know, in a peaceful place, in a peaceful space is what I meant.
A peaceful space.
A peaceful pace.
That's a ton of pace. But that's how we started our podcast, is by doing it in the car.
Yeah.
And because I used to live kind of far and I was moving back, and we, at a time in our life, we both was in this relationship transitional period in our life, and we're just being real. She was in a situation
that was not so
good. I
good.
was in a situation that was not so good. And when we started that podcast, we just put ourselves out there, and that's how we was able to exchange energies. Now we both are in amazing, beautiful relationships. I got married, my cousin's engaged to an amazing man. We're both happy in loving relationships with healthy men, right?
And why? Because we choosing to be healthy with ourselves.
Because we chose to be healthy with ourselves. We didn't go out to the club expecting to meet somebody at the bar. We were at a point.
To be honest, I said I was done.
We were at a point in our life where we were saying, you know what? If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But what we are going to do is we're going to make sure that we love ourselves, and that we put what we need to do for ourselves into ourselves.
Pour that love in.
Into
practice
ourselves.
Those emotions,
and that's
of
where
feeling.
We both were. In the way things lined up was, you are gonna get what you give, right? So when you're giving yourself love, you're gonna get somebody who's giving them self-love
all the time.
So she has a man that had self-love. I have a man that's self-love. They weren't in relationships before we met them. They were giving themselves that time. And there are men out there like that. But you can't be focused on, I'm going to find me a man that do this. I'm going to find me a man that got this. He got to have his own car. He got to have his own house.
No, you got to be patient and set them intentions and watch what come your way.
You got to
literally.
be very patient.